It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. Today I wanted to come to you guys and talk to you about what I think is upcoming metas in the next few months. This is not based on any information that I've seen from leaks or anything directly from the company of Dev Sisters himself, but rather just the abilities and the things that I think will come to start folding in to how we can change up the gameplay and how we can diversify the overall teams that we see in different game modes. So the first one I wanted to cover is Tiger Lily. Tiger Lily has always been a very interesting cookie. Mostly been used in cheese comps, but I think what she provides is something even more. And that is the fact that she has it's a quick stun, but I think stun itself is going to be phasing out of the PvP mode because there's so many ways to diffuse stun and to block it with like Cocoa Cookie and some other high defensive cookies as well. And instead, I think what's going to be more important is what Tiger Lily can actually bring to the team, and that's the attack speed and also the single hit power as well. So the transform cookies, they have a lot of power behind them because DPS units can't take them out right away as long as they can transform fast enough. And Tiger Lily already has a 13-second cooldown, which is pretty powerful. And so even if a DPS unit hits that transformed cookie too quickly, they have a secondary chance to do damage on the back end. And so for that reason, I think that the transformed cookies are going to start to make a comeback for just that potential alone. In addition, the different buffs that we're starting to see from other cookies I think are going to pair nicely in synergies to make some really powerful teams. Kind of a new sweeper comp, which I'm going to start working on and seeing if I can develop. Something that's not been necessarily seen before. So Tiger Lily is the first one I want to cover. Werewolf is in the similar vein because of the transformation, but in addition, he gets the 20% HP buff just for 8 seconds. Now, this is not max HP, so this is not making it to where he can be healed to even higher levels, but rather that he just gets a nice little buff during that transformation. And in addition, he gets a additional transformation damage so that he hits even harder, and his skill cooldown is very fast. It's only 11 seconds. So that's nearing the point of Gingerbrave's 8 seconds, which means that if it's done well enough, you can get the transformation down to about a 2-second start. And so when you're having these things happen, if they have a high enough defense point, which Werewolf does have a decent defense metric without any toppings on, you can get it to the point where the defense is enough to guard against that initial DPS unit hit, and then they can plow through with their damage and their extra percentages. And then when they transform back, hopefully you have this energy to keep them alive further, to keep them pushing through. And so I think Werewolf is going to be another potential candidate coming up. I know right now he's very disregarded, but he is a good potential candidate for what I think is the upcoming meta. Black Raisin. One of the reasons I think Black Raisin is important is that it was one of the first ambush cookies that you saw quite a lot of power from. And being a middle row ambush, Black Raisin stays pretty hidden from most of the cookies that can target and that can go for specific rows. And the cooldown is so fast that once Black Raisin disappears into the fold to do all of her hits, which she does get multiple hits that keep her in that area of non-targeting, she deals quite a big percentage of damage. She's really good against high-level boss monsters, but also she can deal quite a decent amount of damage of area to a whole bunch of cookies as well. And so Black Raisin, I think, has quite a lot of power that can come out of her, especially with any new treasures that come out that specifically guide powers like hers, because all she has going is just single hit damage, but she doesn't need any more abilities because she already has enough damage that she can push out just from that. And so I think that she is definitely going to be coming back into the meta for really powerful strikes and attacks. Licorice Cookie was a big meta back in the day, back when I was more of a casual player, and I think she's going to be coming back because of the summon units, but also because of the defense buff to the team. I think that the more that we get treasures and that we get cookies that either have high defenses or have buffs to defense, I think the more that Licorice is going to be important in some of those team metas, because setting up those big defenses, I think, will be the new age of play. I think that a lot of the last few months have been really geared in the sense of dealing more damage and having more attack power from all the cookies. But I think as we get further out and get more diversified abilities, I think we're going to be getting more defensive structured play that is going to be reshaping how we've taken player versus player battles into mind. And so I think Licorice will have a heavy effect on that coming up. Not to mention she has really good single hit damage when it comes to her percentages. So there's a lot of power to her too. And then last but not least, Rye Cookie. So she does really good single hit damage, mostly for bosses, but I think as she can be built out better for defense and critical strikes, I think that she can be really good at sweeping out some single target low HP units that are just unexpectedly supposed to be there. And I think that Rye Cookie paired with specific attack speeds, really good searing powers, maybe some critical toppings, more to definitely experiment on. I think that she's going to be pulling out a lot of different damage on a lot of different low HP cookies, or specifically built DPS teams that can just be swept off the board. So I don't consider this necessarily like a new cheese comp, because the way the cheese comp works is that they use the stun to get all of their actions done before the enemy team is going. I think the new meta that will come is either sweep teams that are going to be pulling great abilities that synergize with each other to make hard to beat teams, or we're going to see really good defensive structured teams that can actually outlast very high DPS teams. So I think those are the two things that we can really look forward to in the upcoming months. But if you guys have opinions, if you have anything that you want to add about these cookies specifically, or ones that you think will probably come back into the meta anytime soon, I'd definitely love to hear in the comments. Thank you as always for coming by. Have a wonderful night.